Austin Field, 5th grade. The Things That Haven't Been Done Before by Edgar Guest. The things that haven't been done before, those are the things to try. Columbus dreamed of an unknown shore at the rim of the far-flung sky, and his heart was bold and his faith was strong as he ventured in dangers new, and he paid no heed to the jeering throng or the fears of his doubting crew. The many will follow the beaten track with guideposts along the way. They live and have lived for ages back with a chart for every day. And someone has told them that it's safe to go on the road he has traveled o'er, and all that they ever strive to know are the things that were known before. A few strike out without map or chart, where never a man has been. From the beaten path they draw apart to see what no man has seen. Their deeds they hunger alone to do, though battered and bruised and sore. They blaze the path for the many who do nothing not done before. The things that haven't been done before are the tasks worthwhile today. Are you one of the flock that follows, or are you one that shall lead the way? Are you one of the timid souls that quails at the jeers of a doubting crew? Or dare you, whether you win or fail, strike out for a goal that's new? Psalm 27, verse 1 through 6. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life, and whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise up against me, in this I will be confident. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that I will seek after, is that I will dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock. And now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord. Thank you.
Celina Lantz, 5th grade. The Children's Crusade excerpt by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Into Harbor, 1882. What is this I read in history? Full of marvel, full of mystery. Difficult to understand? Is it fiction? Is it truth? Children in the flower of youth, heart in heart and hand in hand, ignorant of what helps or harms, without armor, without arms, journeying to the Holy Land. Who shall answer or divine? Never since the world was made, such a wonderful crusade. Started forth for Palestine, never while the world shall last will it reproduce the past. Never will it see again such an army, such a band, over mountain, over main, journeying to the Holy Land. Oh, the simple childlike trust, oh, the faith that could believe. What the harnessed iron mailed knights of Christendom had failed, by their prowess to achieve, they the children could and must. Little thought the hermit preaching holy war to knight and baron, that the words dropped in his teaching, his entreaty, his beseeching, would by children's hands be gleaned, and the staff on which he leaned blossom like the rod of Aaron. In Cologne, the bells were ringing. In Cologne, the nuns were singing hymns and canticles divine, loud among St. Andrew's stalls, and the thronging streets were loud with the voices of the crowd. Underneath the city walls, silent flowed the river Rhine. From the gates that summer day, clad in robes of holden gray, and a red cross on the breast, azure-eyed and golden-haired, forth the young crusaders fared, while above the band devoted, consecrated banners floated, fluttered many a flag and streamer, and a cross o'er all the rest, singing lowly, meekly, slowly, give us back the holy sepulchre of the Redeemer. A vast processions pressed, youths and maidens. Courage, lose not heart or hope. On the mountain's southern slope lies Jerusalem the holy, as a white rose in its pride, by the wind in summer tide, tossed and loosened from the branch, showers its petals o'er the ground from the distant mountain side, scattering all its snows around. With mysterious muffled sound, loosened fell the avalanche, voices, echoes far and near, roar of winds and waters blending, mist uprising, clouds impending, filled them with a sense of fear, formless, nameless, never ending. Joshua 1 verse 9, have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Thank you.
Gracie Banducci, 5th grade. Thunderhead Excerpts by Mary O'Hara. Goblin knew the storm, first instant cold, and a prolongation of the night. The bodies of all the other horses felt different. The snow burrowed into the long fur with which they prepared for the winter. The blood heat melted and froze it. They became strange white phantoms moving silently through the white storm. To themselves, they were heavy and unnatural. The colts asked the mothers, "Are you afraid?" And the dams answered, "No. It is simply something to endure. All will be well in the end." And the colts told themselves, "It is nothing to fear. All will be well." All the fear, all the courage, all the doubt, all the calculation, all the responsibility, all the decisions to be made were Banner's. An outstanding horse personality is born with one ambition: to be the leader of a great herd, have the finest mares. A sickling will be driven out or isolated until she can regain her health. To raise the finest colts, handsome, strong, and swift. To achieve this, a stallion must fight, plunder, starve, wander into strange lands, take what punishment comes. And after he has achieved this, he is tireless in the care of it. He will fight any who would challenge him, steal or hurt his charges, and investigates every danger with intrepid bravery and disregard of himself. In the storm, Banner was not still a moment. His great neck arched, his mane and tail whipped behind him on the horizontal stream of wind-driven snow. His eyelashes were fringes of tiny icicles. A long one hung from his chin, which was his frozen breath. The temperature was falling fast. Now in the day, if the wind did not stop, it would be 30 below that night. Now in the daytime, the storm was white. That night it would be a black fury of bedlam and a sustained screaming sound. Goblin was not one of the two colts who nearly succumbed during the night. He was filled with vigor. In his veins was a hot, swift running blood that could cope with any storm. Banner took no notice of him. The white-throated stallion, standing on the crest, felt his own sudden decision. The time had come. He plunged down the slope towards his mares, rousing them from their lethargy, and Banner took the lead, and once they were underway, the mares followed. They ran with the storm behind them. They were 3 miles east of the Goosebar Gates. They ran through the gates and down the stable pasture and reached the corrals. At last, the wind had stopped. The air was calm and crystal clear, perfumed with so intense a freshness and clearness that it stung the lungs with tiny needles. Glorious was the sun blazing on the whiteness. Glorious was the deep blue cup of the sky. The whole world glittered and shone. And up on the uplands, the mares moved contently on familiar grazing grounds. They told the colts, "Did we not say so? It is over. Thank you."
Raphael Abrio, 5th grade. The Wind and the Moon by George MacDonald. Said the wind to the moon, "I will blow you out. You sail in the air like a ghost in a chill, always lurking what I am about. I hate to be watched. I will blow you out." The wind blew hard and out with the moon, so deep on a heap of clouds to sleep. Down lay the wind and slumbered soon, muttering low of done for that moon. He turned in his bed, and she was there again, on high in the sky, with her one ghost eye. The moon shone white, bright, white and alive and plain. Said the wind, "I will blow you out again." The wind blew hard, and the moon grew dim. With my sledge and my wedge, I've knocked off her edge. If only I blow right, fierce and grim, the creature will soon be dimmer than dim. He blew and he blew, she thinned to a thread. One puff was enough to blow to snuff. First blew her away right out of the sky, then blew her in. Oh, shoot. He blew and he blew. He blew a great blast, and the thread was gone. In the air, nowhere was a moonbeam bare. Far off and harmless, the shy star shone. Sure and certain, the moon was gone. The wind he took to his revels once more, on down in town like a merry, mad clown. He leaped and hallooed with whistle and roar. What's that? The gleaming thread once more. He flew in a rage, he danced and blew, but in vain was the pain of his bursting brain. For still the broader the moon scrap grew, the broader he swelled his big cheeks and blew. Slowly she grew till she filled the night, and shone on her throne the sky alone, a matchless, wonderful, silvery light, radiant and lovely, the queen of the night. Said the wind, what a marvel of power am I! With my breath, good faith, I blew her to death. First blew her away, right out of the sky, then blew her in, what strength have I? But the moon, she knew nothing about the affair, for high in the sky, with her one white eye, motionless miles above the air, she had never heard the great wind blow. Mark 4 verses 37 through 41. And there arose a great storm of wind, and that the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And they wake him and say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? And he arose and rebuked the wind, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said unto them, Why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith? And they feared exceedingly, and said one to another, What manner of man is this, that even the wind and sea obey him? Thank you.
Matteo Ramirez, 5th grade, the Sharper of Alexandria and a Master of Police, from 1001 Nights, Volume 4. There was once in the coast fortress of Alexandria a Master of Police, Eusamidin by name, who was one night sitting in a seat of office, when there came into him a trooper, who said to him, Know, O my lord, that I entered the city this night, and alighted at such a khan and slept there, till the third part of the night was past, when I awoke and found my saddlebags cut open, and a purse of 1,000 dinars stolen from them. No sooner had he done speaking, than the magistrate called his officers and bade them lay hands on all in the khan, and clap them in prison till the morning. And on the morrow he caused bring the instruments of torment, and sending for the prisoners, was about to torture them, to make them confess, in the presence of the owner of the stolen money. When, behold, a man pressed through the crowd, and coming up to the chief of the police, said, O Amir, Let these folk go, for they are wrongly accused. It was I who robbed the trooper, and here's the purse I stole from his saddlebags." So saying, he pulled out the purse from his sleeve and laid it before Hussein, who said to the soldier, "Take thy money. Thou hast no ground of complaint now against the people of the Khan." Thereupon the latter and all who were present fell to blessing the thief and praising him. But he said, "O Amir, the skill is not in that I came to thee and brought thee the purse, but in taking it a second time from the trooper." "And how didst thou take it, O sharper?" asked Hussein. "O Amir," replied the thief, "I was standing in the money changers' bazaar at Cairo, when I saw yonder man receive the gold and put it in his purse. So I followed him from street to street, but found no occasion of stealing it from him. Then he left Cairo, and I followed him from place to place, casting about by the way to rob him, but without avail, till he entered the city, and I followed him to the Khan. I took up my lodging beside him and watched him till he fell asleep, and I heard him snoring, when I went softly up to him, and cutting open his saddlebags with this knife, took the purse thus." So saying, he put out his hand and took the purse from before the chief of the police, whilst the latter and the folk and the trooper drew back, watching him, and thinking he would show them how he took the purse from the saddlebags. But of a sudden he broke into a run, and threw himself into a reservoir hard by. The chief of the police called to his officers to pursue him, but before they could put off their clothes and descend the steps he had made off. And they sought for him, but found him not, for the streets of Alexandria all communicate one with another. So they came back, empty-handed, and the chief of the police said to the trooper, "Thou hast no recourse against the folk, for thou foundest him who robbed thee, and received back thy money, but didst not keep it." So the trooper went away, having lost his money, whilst the folk were delivered from his hands and those of the chief of the police. And all this was of the favor of God the Most High. Thank you.
Chapter 1. In the ancient city of London, on a certain autumn day, in the second quarter of the 16th century, a boy was born to a poor family of the name of Canty, who did not want him. On the same day, another English child was born to a rich family of the name of Tudor, who did want him. All England wanted him too. England had so longed for him and hoped for him and prayed God for him that now that he was really come, the people went nearly mad for joy. Mere acquaintances hugged and kissed each other and cried. And everybody took a holiday, and high and low, rich and poor, feasted and danced and sang, and got very mellow. And they kept this up for days and nights together. By day, London was a sight to see, with gay banners waving from every balcony and housetop, and splendid pageants marching along. By night, it was again a sight to see, with its great bonfires at every corner, and its troops of revelers making merry round them. There was no talk in all England but of the new baby, Edward Tudor, Prince of Wales, who lay lapped in silks and satins, unconscious of all this fuss, and not knowing that great lords and ladies were tending him and watching over him, and not caring either. But there was no talk of the other baby, Tom Canty, lapped in his poor rags, except among the family of paupers who he had just come to trouble with his presence. Chapter 2, excerpt. By and by, Tom's reading and dreaming about princely life wrought such a strong effect upon him that he began to act the prince unconsciously. His speech and manners became curiously ceremonious and courtly, to the vast admiration and amusement of his intimates. Tom's influence among these young people began to grow, now, day by day, and in time he came to be looked up to by them
with a sort of wondering awe as a superior being. He seemed to know so much, and he could do and say such marvelous things, and withal he was so deep and wise. Tom's remarks and Tom's performances were reported by boys to their elders, and these also began to presently discuss Tom Canty and to regard him as a most gifted and extraordinary creature. Full-grown people brought their perplexities to Tom for solution, and were often astonished at the wit and wisdom of his decisions. In fact, he was become a hero to all who knew him, except his own family. These only saw nothing in him. Privately, after a while, Tom organized a royal court. He was the prince. His special comrades were guards, chamberlains, equerries, lords, and ladies-in-waiting, and the royal family. Daily, the mock prince was received with elaborate ceremonials borrowed by Tom from his romantic readings. Daily, the great affairs of the mimic kingdom were discussed in the royal council, and daily the mimic highness issued decrees to his imaginary armies, navies, and viceroyalties. After which he would go forth in his rags, beg a few farthings, eat his poor crust, take his customary cuffs and abuse, and then stretch himself upon his handful of foul straw and resume his empty grandeurs in his dreams. And still his desire to look just once upon a real prince in the flesh grew upon him, day by day, week by week, until it absorbed all other desires and became the one passion of his life. Psalms 127, verse 3 through 5. Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are held in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Happy is the man who hath his quiver full of them, for they shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. Thank you.
Liam Jacobs, 5th grade. Our Heroes by Phoebe Carey. Here's a hand to the boy who has courage to do what he knows to be right. When he falls in the way of temptation, he has a hard battle to fight. Who strives against self and his comrades will find a most powerful foe. All honor to him if he conquers. A cheer to the boy who says no. There's many a battle fought daily, the world knows nothing about. There's many a brave little soldier whose strength puts a legion to rout. And he who fights in single-handed is more of a hero, I say, than he who leads soldiers to battle and conquers with arms in the fray. Be steadfast, my boy, when you're tempted to do what you know to be right. Stand firm by the colors of manhood, and you will overcome in the fight. The right be your battle cry ever, when waging the warfare of life, and God, who knows who are the heroes, will give you the strength for the strife. 2 Timothy 2, verse 1 through 14, and 22 through 26. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Christ Jesus, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. The husbandman that laboureth must be first partaker of the fruits. Consider what I say, and the Lord give thee understanding in all things. Remember that Jesus Christ of the seed of David was raised from the dead according to my gospel, wherein I suffer trouble as an evildoer, even unto bonds, but the word of God is not bound. Therefore, I endure all things for the elect's sakes, that they may also obtain the salvation that is in Christ Jesus with eternal glory. Flee also youthful lusts, but pursue righteousness, faith, love, peace with those who call upon the Lord out of a pure heart. But avoid foolish and ignorant disputes,
knowing that they generate strife. And a servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but be gentle to all, able to teach, patient in humility, correcting those who are in opposition. If God perhaps will grant him repentance, so that they may escape the snare, they may know the truth, and that they may come to their senses and escape the snare of the devil, having been taken captive by him to do his will. Thank you.
Elijah Cuyugan, 5th grade. Return of the King excerpt by J.R.R. Tolkien. This excerpt from The Return of the King is the final novel in Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Gandalf, a wizard and the orchestrator of the Fellowship, has miraculously returned from his fatal fall into the depths of Khazad-dûm, and is proving increasingly necessary in the struggle of Middle-earth's free people, namely hobbits, elves, dwarves, and men, against Sauron's armies, orcs, trolls, and Southron men led by the Nazgûl, 9 races who had been men, who succumbed to Sauron through the Rings of Power. In rode the Lord of the Nazgûl, a great black shape against the fires beyond. He loomed up, grown to a vast menace of despair. In rode the Lord of the Nazgûl, under the archway that no enemy ever yet had passed, and all fled before his face. All save one. There waiting, silent and still, in the space before the gate, sat Gandalf upon Shadowfax, who alone among the free horses of the earth endured the terror, unmoving, steadfast as a graven image in Rathinen. You cannot enter here, said Gandalf, and the huge shadow halted. Go back to the abyss prepared for you. Go back. Fall into the nothingness that awaits you and your master. Go. The Black Rider flung back his hood, and behold, he had a kingly crown, and yet upon no head visible it was set. The red fires shone between it, and the mantled shoulders vast and dark. From a mouth unseen there came a deadly laughter. Old fool, he said, old fool, this is my hour. Do you not know death when you see it? Die now and curse in vain. And with that he lifted high his sword, and flames ran down the blade. And in that very moment, away behind in some courtyard of the city, a cock crowed. Shrill and unclear he crowed, recking nothing of war nor of wizardry, welcoming only the morning that in the sky, far above the shadows of death, was coming with the dawn. And as if in answer, there came from far away another note. Horns, horns, horns. In dark Mindoluan sides they dimly echoed, great horns of the north, wildly blowing. Rohan had come at last. The ride of the Rohirrim. The bent shape of the king sprang suddenly erect. Tall and proud Theoden seemed again, and rising in his stirrups he cried in a loud voice, more clear than any there had heard a mortal man achieve before. Arise, arise, riders of Theoden, fell deeds awake, fire and slaughter. Spear shall be shaken, shield be splintered, a sword day, a red day, ere the sun rises. Ride now, ride now, ride to Gondor. With that, Theoden seized a great horn from Guthlaf his banner-bearer, and he blew such a blast upon it that it burst asunder. And straightway all the horns in the host were lifted up in music. And the blowing of the horns of Rohan in that hour was like a storm upon the plains, and a thunder in the mountains. Ride now, ride now, ride to Gondor. Suddenly the king cried to Snowmane, and his horse sprang away. Behind him his banner blew in the wind, white horse upon a field of green, but he outpaced it. After him thundered the knights of his house, but he was ever before them. Fey he seemed, or the battle fury of his fathers ran like new fire in his veins. His golden shield was uncovered, and lo, it shone like an image of the sun. And the grass flamed into green about the white feet of his steed. And the hosts of Mordor wailed, and terror took them, and they fled and died, and the hoofs of wrath ran over them. Daniel 12, verse 1-3. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Thank you.
Madison Wells, 5th grade, The Flying Squirrel by Mary Burt. Of all the woodland creatures, the quaintest little sprite is a dainty flying squirrel, in vest of shining white, in coat of silver gray, and vest of shining white. His furry Quaker jacket is trimmed with strip of black, a furry plume to match it is curling o'er his back. New curved with every motion, his plume curls o'er his back. No little newborn baby has pinker feet than he. Each tiny toe is cushioned with velvet cushions 3. 3 wee pink velvet cushions, almost too small to see. Who said that the foot of a baby might tempt an angel's kiss? I know a score of schoolboys who would put their lips to this, a sweet foot of a squirrel, and left a loving kiss. The tiny thief is hidden, my candy and my plum. Ah, there he comes, unbidden, to gently nip my thumb. Down in his home, my pocket, he gently nips my thumb. How strange the food he covets, the restless, restless white. Fred's old stuffed armadillo, he found a tempting bite. Fred's old stuffed armadillo with ears of perfect fright. The lady roost, scraperoo, each foot of a dragon's paw. The midget ate the nails from his famous antique claw. Ah, what a cruel beastie to hurt a dragon's claw. To autograph copies upon my choicest shelf, to every dainty volume, the rogue has helped himself. My books, oh dear, no matter, the rogue has helped himself. And yet, my little squirrel, your taste is not so bad. You swallowed card completely, in psychologic lad. For his meaning you digested, and cant and rags you clad. Gnaw on, my elvish rodent, lay all this sages low. My pretty lace and ribbons, they're yours for weal or woe. And pocketbooks in tatters, because you like them so. Isaiah 40, verse 26. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold who hath created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. For he calleth them all by names by the greatness of his might. For he is strong in power, not one faileth. Job 12, verse 7 through 10. But ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee. And speak to the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea, and they shall declare unto thee. Who knoweth not in all this that the hand of the Lord hath wrought this, in whose hand is the soul of every living thing, and the breath of all mankind? Thank you.
Violet Kroeker, 5th grade, The Owl and the Nightingale, excerpts, translated by J.W.H. Atkins. According to the translators, The Owl and the Nightingale has been described as the most miraculous piece of writing among the medieval English books. By the end of the 19th century, it had come to be regarded as a work of considerable linguistic interest. But it is only of late years that its real value has begun to be appreciated, and a fair idea formed of its importance in English literature. The argument between the nightingale and the owl began one day in the corner of a clearing, when the nightingale addresses the owl as a nasty creature and tells her to fly away. Later that evening, the owl responds angrily, and they continue to berate each other. The nightingale kept all this in her mind, and considered for a long time what she might say to follow it, because she could not refute what the owl had said to her, since what she said was true and accurate. And she regretted that she had let the argument get so far, and was afraid that her answer would not be effectively delivered. But nevertheless, she spoke out boldly, because it is wise to put on a brave show in front of one's enemy, rather than giving up out of cowardice. Since someone who is bold, if you take to flight, will run away if you don't lose your nerve. If he sees that you are not cowardly, he will turn from a boar into a barrow pig. And therefore, although the nightingale was nervous, she made a bold speech. Owl, she said, why do you behave like this? In winter, you sing woe, woe. You sing like a hen in the snow. Everything that you sing comes out of misery. In winter, you sing sullenly and gloomily, and you are always dumb in the summer. It's because of your wretched malice that you can't be happy with us, since you practically burn up with with resentment when our good times arrive. You behave like a mean-spirited man. Every pleasure displeases him. Complaining and scowling comes easily to him if he sees that people are happy. He would like to see tears in everyone's eyes, and wouldn't mind if whole troops of men were fighting each other hand to hand. You do the same for your part, because when deep snow is lying far and wide, and every creature is miserable, you sing from evening to morning. But I bring every delight with me. Every creature is glad on my account, and rejoices when I come, and looks forward to my arrival. The flowers begin to open and bloom, both in the trees and in the field. The lily, with her fair complexion, welcomes me, I'll have you know, and invites me, with her beautiful appearance, to fly to her. The blushing rose, too, springing from the briar, tells me to sing a joyful song for love of her. And so I do, night and day. The more I sing, the more I can, and serenade them with my singing. But even so, not for too long. When I see that people are happy, I don't want them to feel overloaded. When what I've come for is done, I go back, and it's sensible for me to do that. When men's thoughts turn to their sheaves, and the green leaves begin to fade, I travel home and take my leave. I do not care for the deprivations of winter. When I see that harsh weather is coming, I go home, to my own country, and I am both loved and thanked for having come and done my task here. When my work's finished, should I stay on? No, why should I? After all, anyone who stays on for a long time when they're not needed is neither clever nor sensible. Job 5, verse 8 through 16. But if I were you, I would appeal to the Lord. I would lay my cause before him. He performs wonders that cannot be fathomed, miracles that cannot be counted. He provides rain for the earth. He sends water on the countryside. The lowly he sets on high, and those who mourn are lifted to safety. He thwarts the hand of the crafty, so that their hands may achieve no success. He catches the wise in their craftiness, and the schemes of the wily are swept away. He saves the needy from the sword in their mouth. He saves them from the clutches of the powerful. And so the poor have hope, and injustice shuts its mouth. Thank you.
Chanelle Dela Cruz, 5th grade. Chapter for Children excerpt by Mrs. H.R. Hobbies. Canterbury Tales Prologue. There also was a nun, a prioress, who of her smiling was most simple and coy. Her greatest oath was only by Saint Loy, and she was called Madame Eglantine. Full well she sang the services divine, in tune through her nose melodiously, and French she spoke fairly and fluently. After the school of Stratford Atte Beau, for French of Paris that she did not know. At meal time she was very apt withal. No morsel from her lips did she let fall, nor in her sauce did wet her fingers deep. Well could she lift a titbit and well keep, that not a drop should fall upon her breast. To cultivate refinement was her taste. Her upper lip she ever wiped so clean, that in her drinking cup no scrap was seen of grease when she had drank as she thought good. And gracefully she reached forth for food, and she was very playful, certainly, and pleasant and most amiable to see. In mighty pains she took to counterfeit court manners, be stately and discreet, and to be held as worthy of reverence. But then to tell you of her conscience, she was so charitable and piteous, that she would weep did she but see a mouse, caught in a trap if it were dead or bled. And little dogs she had, which oft she fed, with roasted meat and milk and finest bread. But sore she wept if one of them were dead, or haply with a rod were smitten smart, and all was conscience and tender heart. Most daintily her wimple plaited was. Her nose was straight, her eyes were gray as glass. Her mouth was little, so soft and red. Besides, she had a very fine forehead, that measured nigh a span across, I trow, for certainly her stature was not low. And very dainty was the cloak she wore, around her arm a rosary she bore, of coral small with little gauds of green, and thereon hung a golden locket chain, on which is graven first a crowned A, and after a more vincit omnia. Proverbs 31, verse 15 through 31. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household,
and a portion to her maidens. She considereth the field and buyeth it, but the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good, her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry, her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. Thank you.
Alex Brown, Recruits, by the Washington Star. The old disputes are passed away, but they are heroes still, as bold as they seek the fray. You feel the battle thrill, reprove their hunger for fame. But own, when all is done, the boys in 98, the same as boys in 61. It ain't no use to stand and chide when war is in the air. You waste your efforts to deride their talk of being there. Remember when you sort of blame the way the feelings run, that boys in 98, the same as boys in 61. It makes you sad to see them chat, so eager for a foe. 'Twould make you sorry, perhaps, if they're afraid to go. You tell them war's a dangerous game, that murder's in each gun, that boys in 98, the same as boys in 61. Spain, by the New York Tribune. A scarred old starling lion, with straggy tattered mane, his claws and teeth all broken, lies the ancient realm of Spain. And with the thirst of blood still on him, and with hungry mouth, he reads poor beating Cuba, prostrate this beneath his paw. He's a fierce and frail man-eater from early days ayorn. He's ravaged many an island and wasted many a teeming shore. Whom his victims number million, whom with ravaging bloody slaughter he has mangled and devoured. But his roar goes faint and hollow, and a hunter from the west will come along and snatch away fair Cuba with her torn and bleeding breast. And sending howling and limping, reviled of gods and men, back to ground misboned to darkness in his medieval den. On the eve of war, by dusk and dandridge, O God of battles, who art still, God of love, God of rest, subdue thy people's fury will, and quell their passions in their breast. Before we bathe our hands in blood, we lift them up to holy rood. The waiting nations hold their breath to catch the dreadful battle cry, and in that silence as of death, the faithful hours go softly by. O hear thy people where they pray, and shrive our souls before the fray. Before the sun of peace shall set, we kneel apart a solemn vow. Pity the eyes with sorrow wept, but pity most the lips that smile. The night comes fast, we hear a fair, the baying of the wolves of war. O not lightly, Lord, let this our awful task begin. Speak from thy throne a warning word. If this thy be thy most holy will, be with us still, be with us still. Ephesians 6, verse 10 through 11. Finally, my brother, be strong in the Lord and in his power and might, and put on the armor of God. Thank you.
Callen Kirkendall, 6th grade. Remember the Man, by Lewis V. Pinchbeck. Hark, don't you hear the trumpets? The beating of the drum and measured tread of marching feet proclaim that war has come. The battle cry rolls onward as they thin the ranks from Spain. 'Tis no more, remember the Alamo. But remember, boys, the Main. Oh, who will fill the places of those who near return? Oh, who dare speak comfort to the weary hearts that mourn? There will come no awakening for some upon the plain. They must listen for God's calling to those who avenge the Main. The dreadful war clouds gather, the smoke of guns hangs low. Soft through the night our ships have passed, 'neath forts and waiting foe. Thought of the famished children, the men and women slain, shall nerve our heroes in this hour while they avenge the Main. Across the dancing, rippling waves, the deadly volleys pour, with shrill, sharp whistling of the ball and the cannon's vengeful roar. There's a brilliant, dazzling flash of fire, a proud ship's rent in twain, and the battle wages fiercer, for we must avenge the Main. Hush, o'er the sea and o'er the land, night stillness has begun. The battle fought, the strife is o'er, the victory is won. Fling out old glory to the breeze, unloose her folds again. Cry, Viva Cuba Libre, we have avenged the Main. Te Deum Laudamus, which is Latin for praise to God, by the New York Tribune. Lord, in this our triumph hour, let us own thy sovereign power. Not to us the praise belong, unto thee the victor's song. In thy arm the issue, thine the arm that struck the blow, thine the conquest of our foe. Then shall all, on our lips thy name shall dwell, in our hearts thy name shall swell. Now that cannon roar no more, now that clash of arms is o'er. On our lips thy name shall swell, in our hearts thy name shall dwell. In thy hand the issue lay, thou hast led us all the way. Then shall all the honor be, God of battles, unto thee. Psalm 31, verse 14 through 16 and 19. But as for me, I trust in you, O Lord. I say, you are my God. My times are in your hands. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies and from those who persecute me. Save me for your mercy's sake. Make your face shine upon your servant. Save me for your mercy's sake. Oh, how great is your goodness, which you have laid up for those who fear you, which you have prepared for those who trust in you, in the presence of the sons of men. Thank you.
Read Kroeker, Nemesis, by Minna Irving, The Main. She glided on her peaceful quest, what though her starry flag might bear? To some, a silent stern behest, to some a breath of freedom's air. Then in her berth, a stately guest, slept trustful in that alien lair. But what are bulkheads fashioned well? And what are sides and decks of steel? Or cunning dial hands to tell, through night and day of woe or weal, when human hearts can league with shield, and so volcanoes neath a keel. So by a deed whose blackness made the night it chose seem white beside, struck in the dark by coward blade, the knightly Main leapt once and died. A name to make a throne afraid, a wreck that moaned beneath the tide. The Oregon. But o'er the lands the tidings swept, and death cries quivered through the wire. Down in the gold the engines leapt, the coal sprang eager to the fire, and never slacked and never slept the sister warship's grim desire. With patient throbs that never wane, a continent's long coast is won. That nearing death smoke on the Main shall teach the lesson to the dawn, that he who strikes a blow at Maine shall reckon yet with Oregon. Ah, when her helm goes hard aport, and all her broadside speaks in fire, and from the proudly floating fort the cheers ring out in brave desire, that sound shall shake a trembling court and thrill Havana's sunken pyre. War Scars Are Healed by I. Edgar Jones. Across the battlefield today I walk, where flowers nod and birds harmonious sing, where peaceful leaves in loving whispers talk, and butterflies disport on brilliant wing. The scented breeze is laden deep with balm, and smiling skies bend o'er me still and calm. What stranger, knowing not of worn days, would think this vale was once with cannon rent, while armed men fiercely trod these grassy ways, and trees beneath the iron tempest bent? That thunder, born of hate, here madly crashed, and war's red lightnings here in fury flashed. The sky was canopied with smoke o'erhead, the flowers with redder hues than now were wet. Brave men fell neath the hail of hurtling lead, and crimson steel in the hearts of brethren met, while men, by the thousands, rising fought and fell, amid the horror of an awful hell. Thank God that all those bloody scenes are o'er, that bees and birds now here together play, that brothers shall say brothers thus no more, nor hate reap harvests here of blue and gray. Blood brotherhood decrees that strife shall cease, and love enthroned proclaims a reign of peace. Bloom flowers and offer incense o'er these graves, wave starry flag no more o'er Avon's slaves, nor on red fields o'er which war's tempest raves. Henceforth, when foreign foes appear in view, our flag finds north and south defenders true, the men in gray joined with the men in blue. Psalm 69, verse 13. As for me, my prayer is to you, O Lord, in the acceptable time. O God, in the multitude of your mercy, hear me in the truth of your salvation. Thank you.
Simon Richards, 6th grade, Two Voices, by the Atlanta Constitution and the Minneapolis Journal. A Southern volunteer. Yes, sir, I fought with Stonewall and faced the fight with Lee, but if this old Union goes to war, make one more gun for me. I didn't shrink from Sherman as he galloped to the sea, but if this old Union goes to war, make one more gun for me. I was with him at Manassas, the bully boys in gray. I heard the thunderers roaring round Stonewall Jackson's way, and many a time this sword of mine has blazed the route for Lee. But if this old nation goes to war, make one more gun for me. I'm not so full of fightin', nor half so full of fun, as I was back in the 60s, when I shouldered my old gun. It may be that my hair is white, such things you know must be, but if this old Union goes to war, make one more gun for me. I hain't forgot my reason, nor how in 62, or thereabouts, with battle shouts, I charged the boys in blue. And I say, I fought with Stonewall and blazed the route for Lee, but if this old Union goes to war, make one more gun for me. His northern brother. Just make it two, old fellow. I want to stand once more beneath the old flag with you, as in the days of yore. Our fathers fought together. Our fathers stood together and fought on land and sea, the battles fierce that made us a nation of the free. I whipped you down at Vicksburg, you licked me at Bull Run. On many a field we struggled, when neither victory won. You wore the gray of Southland, I wore the northern blue. Like men we did our duty, while screaming bullets flew. My head like yours is frosty, old age is creeping on. Life's sun is lower sinking, my day will soon be gone. But if our country's honor needs once again her son, I'm ready too, old fellow, so get another gun. Psalm 119, verses 1 through 7. Blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the law of the Lord. Blessed are those who keep his testimonies. They seek him with the whole heart. They also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways. You have commanded us to keep your precepts. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep your statutes. Thank you.
Isaac Davis, Hail Our Glorious Banner, by Thomas Sullivan. All hail the glorious banner, fit emblem of the free, proudly floating in the light of the bright morning sun. It bears a welcome message far over land and sea, of charity for all and malice toward none. Beneath its folds we fear not, though hostile cannon roar, for the liberty we prize, our fathers' valor won, and we this priceless heritage will hold forevermore, with charity for all and malice toward none. One nation we, from sea to sea, one hope, one tongue, one law, and before us lies a duty we cannot, dare not shun, to loose the bands of tyranny, for this is the sword we draw, of charity for all and malice toward none. We hold one purpose, steadfast sure, this war shall never cease, till Cuba's isle shall freedom know. But when our task is done, with joy we'll crown our battle flags with garland wreaths of peace, with charity for all and malice toward none. Then hail our starry banner, forever floating free, with its colors bathed in glory by the bright morning sun, while the breezes bear its message far over land and sea, of charity for all and malice toward none. Old Glory by Reverend William A. Quayle. We have heard the battle bugle break the silence of the night, and have seen the battle columns in the tempest of the fight, and beheld Old Glory shining with its stars of morning light, while freedom marched along. We have seen our country battle when the North and South were foes. We have seen heroic struggles twixt the battle's dawn and close. But that day of fatal warfare dims into a deep repose, and freedom marches on. We have lived to see Old Glory float its stars from strand to strand, and have seen it wave in triumph o'er the Spaniards' conquered land. And the South and North are vanished, for Americans we stand, and freedom marches on. Under stripes and stars we're marching to the freeing of the world, and for freedom fleets and navies into battles thick are hurled. And the dear folds of Old Glory to the world's winds are unfurled, while freedom marches on. Acts 10:34-35. In truth, I perceive that God shows no partiality, but in every nation, whoever fears him and works righteousness is accepted by him. Thank you.
Elianna Lantz, 6th grade. The Flag by M.W. Stryker. Roll a river wide and strong, like the tides a-swinging. Lift the joyful floods of song, set the mountains ringing. Run the lovely banner high, crimson morning glory. Field as blue as yonder sky, every star story. Let the people heart and lip hail the gleaming splendor. Let the guns from shore and ship acclamation render. All ye oceans clap your hands, echo plains and highlands. Speed the voice through all the lands to the Orient Islands. Darling flag of liberty, law and love revealing, all the downcast turn to thee, for thy hope appealing. In the front for human right, flash thy stars of morning. All that hates and hides the light flies before thy warning. By the colors of the day, by the breasts that wear them, to the living God we pray, for the brave that bear them. Run the rippling banner high, peace or war the weather, cheers or tears, we'll live or die, under it together. The band played on by the Cleveland Plain Dealer. As the Californians under Colonel Smith came up the beach in the Philippines, their band played the national air, accompanied by the whistling of Mauser bullets, and during the sharpshooting continued to encourage the men with inspiring music. Forward, the colonel sharply said, with eager eye and steady tread. They crossed a strip of shining sand, in rhythm with their pulsing band. Up from the bay, the great guns roared. High o'er their heads the swift shells soared, but true and steady rose the drum, above the battle's growing hum. And wild and strident shrilled the helm, as if it shrieked in loyal scorn. The bullets whistled o'er the strand, a crimson stain was on the sand. Fire! Shrieked the colonel, and a roar went booming down Manila's shore. And while its echoes died away, the fearless band in steady play, as on parade, so calm, so free, poured forth the song of freedom's key. It roused those dauntless Yankee hearts.
They felt the thrill the song imparts. In rhythm with the horn and drum, each lip the dear old words did hum. They fought like brave men, good and true. They pressed ahead where bullets flew. And till they'd conquered, every dawn, the band played on. Psalm 67, verses 3 through 6. Let the people praise you, O God. Let all the peoples praise you. Oh, let the nations be glad and sing for joy, for you shall judge the people righteously and govern the nations on earth. Let the peoples praise you, O God. Let all the peoples praise you. Then the earth shall yield her increase. God, our own God, shall bless us. Thank you.
Hannah Cuyugan, The Soldier's Wife, by Eliot Flower. He offered himself for the land he loved, but what shall we say of her? He gave to his country a soldier's life. 'Twas dear by far to the soldier's wife. All honor today to her. He went to the war while his blood was hot, but what shall we say of her? He saw for himself through the battle's flame a hero's reward on the scroll of fame. What honor is due to her? He offered himself, but his wife did more. All honor today to her. For dearer than life was the gift she gave. In giving the life, she would die to save. What honor is due to her? He gave up his life at his country's call. But what shall we say of her? He offered himself as a sacrifice, but she is the one who pays the price. All honor we owe to her. The Hero Down Below, by the Chicago Times-Herald. While you sing of Schley and Hobson, and of gallant Dewey too, while with thoughts of them your hearts are all aglow, I would sing you of another, just as brave and just as true, of the man who does the stoking down below. For his home is in the Sheol, and he doesn't hear the yell that goes up when the firing's done. When the ship he's with has won, he must keep a shoveling on down below. Though his name is never mentioned, though we see or know him not, though his deeds may never bring him worldly fame, he's a man above the others, and the bravest of the lot, and the hero of the battle just the same. He's the man who does the work, from the labor does not shirk. He is shoveling day and night, feeding flames a blazing bright, keeping up a killing fight down below. In the awful heat and torture of the fires that leap and dance, in and out the furnace doors that never close, on in silence he must work, for with him there's near a chance on his brow to feel the outer breeze that blows. For they've locked him in a room, in a burning, blazing tomb, where he cannot see the sky, cannot learn in time to fly, when destruction stalketh nigh down below. While the fighting fierce is waging, and the cannons overhead, with their sizzling shells the enemy surround, to the stoker down below, not a word is ever said. To his ear is borne no echo of a sound. When they open wide his door and they cry, your work is o'er, they find him weakly lying on a pile of coal and crying out of madness, for he is dying down below. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 56 through 57. The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is law. But thanks be to God who gives us victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you.
Alexis Eckel, the awakening from the Etna. We have dreamed, but the dream is ended. We are facing the world awake, in the past and the future blended, make true what the ages spake. 'Tis the love of a glorious nation that gleameth today as then, when the deeds of an epic story were done by heroic men. Could we dream with the people crying for aid from our mighty store? Could we dream with 1 million dying, unfed at our very door? Could we dream while the sound of weeping for heroes who fell betrayed was heard where the brave lie sleeping in graves that were newly made? Nay, the shadows and visions vanish. 'Tis honor, not peace we hold, while over the flag of the Spanish, the flag of the free is unrolled. And this is the hour of the doing, and the end of it all is not yet, but even our love is renewing of liberty, lest we forget. The Red Cross by Grand Army Advocate. They too have heard the drumbeat. They follow the bugler's call. These who are swift with pity on the field where brave men fall. When the battle boom is silent and the echoing thunder dies, they haste the plain red sodden with the blood of sacrifice. The flag that floats above them is marked with a crimson sign, pledged of a great compassion and the rifted heart divine. That once, for man's redemption, knew ours completest loss, these to the field of valor bring love's immortal cross. And so, they follow the bugle and heed the drumbeat's call. But their errand is one of pity. They succor the men that fall. Psalm 46, verse 1 through 3. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in need. Therefore, we will not fear, even though the earth be removed, and the mountain be carried into the midst of the seas, though the waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling. Thank you.
Daisy Roberts, The Red Cross Army Nurse by J. Edmund Vance Cook. The praises of the admirals are ringing everywhere. The plaudits of the generals are singing in the air. Then men who sailed to sink their lives within the Merrimac, so dauntless they that even death was fearful to attack. The hard Marines whose tactics knew no signal for retreat, in the rain of Mauser bullets and the drench of tropic heat. The rough and ready riders in their resolute advance all make our daily records a continuous romance. We cry them in our stories, we chant them in our verse, but let us sing a stanza for the Red Cross Army Nurse. She is in the foremost battle, she is in the rearmost tents. She wears no weapon of attack, no armor of defense. She is braver than the bravest, she is truer than the true. She asks not if the soldier struck for red and white and blue. She asks not if he fell beneath the yellow and the red. She is mother to the wounded, she is sister to the dead. The victor's cheers ring in her ears, but these she does not heed. The victim's moans and dying groans are given as her meed. And many a suffering hero chokes his blind and sullen curse to smooth it to a blessing for the Red Cross Army Nurse. Work on, O noble army, and the crown of crowns be yours. Not always shall destruction be the glory which endures. It is coming, you are helping on the day when we learn the nobler action is to succor, not to slay. It is coming, you are aiding it along when we know the feeblest nation is as potent as the strong. It is coming, you are bringing it to pass when the ships have shed their armor and the fortresses are glass. But in the stormy waiting till the armaments disperse, our blessings on the flower of war, the Red Cross Army Nurse. Our Soldier's Song by David Graham Adie. Singing the Star-Spangled Banner in the very jaws of death, singing our glorious anthem, some with their latest breath.
The strains of that solemn music through the spirit will ever roll, filling with martial ardor the depths of each patriot soul. Hearing the hum of bullets, eager to charge the foe, biting the call to battle where crimson heartstrings flow. Thinking of home and dear ones, of mother, of child, of wife, they sang the Star-Spangled Banner on that field of deadly strife. They sang with the voices of heroes in the face of Spanish guns, as they leaned on their loaded rifles with the courage that never runs. They sang to our glorious emblem, appraised on the war-worn sod, as the saints in that old arena sang a song of praise to God. Psalm 117, verses 1 through 2. Praise the Lord, all you Gentiles. Laud him, all you peoples. For his merciful kindness is great toward us, and the truth of the Lord endures forever. Praise the Lord.
Nicholas Disney, The Way in the Navy by John Jerome Rooney. Destroy or capture the enemy's ships, the Commodore hears the word, nor is welcome a sound to his seaman ears in many a day's been heard. So up and away the squadron goes, the steam is crowded on. The ocean hounds have taken their bounds to seek the wily dawn. They seek him there in his inmost lair where he dreams he lies secure. And little they reck of the burly mine or sly torpedoes lure. Find and grapple the law they keep, they want no other chart. Destroy or capture enough for them, the A and Z of the art. If you would know who told them so, you'll find from the men above or below. You'll find from friend, you'll find from foe. It's a way they have in the Navy. Clear for action the signal waves, with a cheer the men reply. Not a man or a boy from stem to stern was afraid to do and die. With mighty leaps the squadron leaps through the living hell of fire. And ever the foe, as the tempest blows, is nigher yet and nigher. Boom roars the 13-incher now against the riven armor plate. The Gatling joins in its searching way in the seething hot debate. They strike, they run, they seek to save who can. The pride of Spain is under the main in its 20-minute span. If you should ask how the trick was done, how the fight was ended and how begun, you'll find in fixing just how they won. It's a way they have in the Navy. See, they raise the signal flag to show their dire distress. Oh, bitter indeed must be the need when fighting men confess. Lower and lower sink their ships, sore stricken a lemon breath, and sudden around them leap the flames in a blazing shroud of death. To the rescue, boys, the Commodore waves, but little need for the sign, for the boats shoot out like living things the length of the Yankee line. Round and round the hulks they go, and round again, with never a care for the booty there, for they're saving the lives of men. If you should wonder why thus they go to succor and save a fallen foe, you'll find with the men above and below. It's a way they have in the Navy. Psalm 18, verses 1 through 3 and 6. I will love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. My God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. In my distress I called out to my God. He heard me from his temple, and my cry came before him, even to his ears. Thank you.
Engine Veloria, 6th grade, When the Great Gray Ships Come In, by Guy Wetmore Carroll. To eastward ringing, to westward winging, o'er mapless mouths of sea, on winds and tides the gospel rides, that the furthermost isles are free. And the furthermost isles make answer, harbor and height and hill. Breaker and beach cry each to each, 'tis the mother calls, be still.
Mother, new-found beloved, and strong told from harm, stretching to these across the seas, the shield of her sovereign arm, who summoned the guns of her sailor sons, who bade her navies roam, who calls again to the leagues amain, and who calls them this time home. And the great gray ships are silent, and the weary watcher rests. The black cloud dies in the August skies, and deep in the golden west. Invisible hands are limning, a glory of crimson bars, and far above is the wonder of our myriad wakened stars. Peace, as the tidings signs, the strenuous cannonade. Peace at last is the bugle blast, the length of the long blockade. And eyes of vigil, weary, are lit with the glad release. From ship to ship and from lip to lip, it is peace, thank God for peace. Ah, in the spring after, Columbia still shall show the sons of these who swept the seas, how she bade them rise and go. How when the stirring summons smote on her children's ear, south and north at the call set forth, and the whole land answered, Here, for the soul of the soldier's story and the heart of the sailor's song are all of those who meet their foes as right should meet with wrong, who fight their guns till a foeman runs, and then on the decks they trod, brave faces raise and give the praise to the grace of their country's God. Yes, it is good to battle, and good to be strong and free, to carry the hearts of a people to the uttermost ends of sea, to see the day stop the bay where the enemy lies in wait, to run your ship to the harbor's lip and sink her across the strait. But better the golden evening when the ships run head for home, and the long green miles slip swiftly past in a swirl of seething foam, and the people wait at the haven's gate to greet the men who win. Thank God for peace, thank God for peace, when the great gray ships come in. Psalm 18, verse 15 through 18. Then the channels of the sea were seen, the foundations of the world were uncovered at your rebuke, O Lord. At the blast of the breath of your nostrils, he sent from above, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from a strong enemy, from those who hated me, for they are too strong for me. They confronted me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my support. Thank you.
Colton Mauch, When the Flag Comes Home, Anonymous. When the flag comes home, when the streets are filled with the sound of marching feet, when the war drums cease and the sword is sheathed, and lips to lips repeat, 'tis the hero, there, from the battle's glare, hurrah for the brave and true, and hurrah for the flag, the grand old rag of the red and white and blue. When the cannon's roar is heard no more, when the soldiers from the fray come back from strife to babes and wife, there'll be music down the way. The ranks will hold the heroes bold, with the flag above them sweet, as they march along to a welcome song from the lips they long to greet. The flag that floats while 1,000 throats repeat its song of praise, the flag that led where the bullets sped through the smoke of the battle haze. The flag, that's the pride of the brave who died and sank to the soldier's rest, with a sigh of love for the stars above, and it folds upon its breast. When the flag comes home and it passes by, and the files march one by one, the sun's bright ray will burn that day, as it never yet has done. And the people's cheer will echo clear, and the banners wave on high, for the heroes true, dear land for you, that fought 'neath the tropic sky. When the flag comes home, will all be gay? Will all whose love be there stand by to shout when the crowds turn out, or whisper a lonely prayer? For the host may come, but the muffled drum has played the dirtiest drear, for the heroes slain in the awful rain they faced without a fear. When the flag comes home, some hearts will weep, and little eyes with tears will fill for the thoughts of sorrows wrought for them through the long, long years. And a mother's ear no more will hear the steps she used to know, and a widow's heart will beat apart in a grave where the lilies grow. But the flag, ah, sweet down lane and street, when it comes from the fields of war, the people's cheer will echo clear and they'll love it more and more. For the victory's won 'neath the tropic sun, for the heroes stepping gay, as the war drums beat and the thousands greet the ranks that marched away. But better still for the deeds that thrill the heart with tenderness, for the sad and lone who yearn and moan in vain for the dear caress of a hand that lies 'neath the tropic skies, with a musket in his grasp, and a little face with a smile of grace in a locket's golden clasp. And better still for the brave and true who fell on the battlefield, who faced the fray in the hero way they knew not how to yield, who sank to sleep where the grasses creep in a soldier's dreamless rest, with a sigh of love for the flag above and its folds upon their breast. Psalm 66, verse 3 through 4. Say to God, how awesome are your works! Through the greatness of your power, your enemies shall submit themselves to you. All the earth shall worship you and sing praises to you. Thank you.
Alex Tucker, 6th grade. Victory by Sarah C. Wilbur. Respectfully dedicated to Captain Philip of the battleship Texas, July 3, 1898. The victory's ours, the foeman's vaunted fleet. Proud to defend its hardy nation's pride, is torn aside, sullen furnace heat, and men aflame with passion fierce or tide, sing from her sight some cheer. In foreign home her taken vainly plead for quick return of brother, son, or sire. Body and spirit faster being freed, may kindly wave or steal their funeral pyre. To soon be over, don't cheer. The work is done, they bravely fought and lost, restrained their victor's vibrant ringing breath. Chanelle exultant note the space across, to mark the fingers in the hour of death. The dying boys don't cheer. Now to the God of battles lift the heart of reverent upward work, and pledge anew in this the hour of triumph, that your parts shall still be born the home and honor of true, my hero boys don't cheer. Chickamauga by the Baltimore News. They have camped on Chickamauga. Once again the white tents gleam. On that field where vanished heroes sweep the sleep that knows no dream. There are shadows all about them of the ghostly troops today, but they light the common campfire, those who wore the blue and gray. Where the pines desert the tower, where the mountains kiss the sky, on their arms the nation warriors wait to hear the battle cry. Wait together, friends and brothers, and the heroes neath your feet. Sleep the long and dreamless slumber where the flowers are blooming sweet. Centuries pause on shadowed challenge, Rockwood Thomas goes that way. He who fought the foes unyielding in that awful battle fray. Yonder pass the shades of heroes, and they follow where Bragg leads, through the meadows and the river, but no ghost of century heeds. Field of fame, a patriot army treads their sacred shod today, in the fight of common foemen, those who wore the blue and gray. In the fight for common country, and the towards to victory, neath the folds of winged banner, starry banner of the free. They are camped on Chickamauga, where the green tints of the dead turn the soil into a glory where a nation's heart once bled. But though clasping hands together on this story field of strife, brothers brave from meet to battle in this freedom war of life. Titus 3, 1 through 2. Remind them to be subject to rulers and authorities, to obey, to be ready for every good work, to speak evil of no one, to be peaceable, gentle, showing all humility to all men. Thank you.
Dakota Banducci, 6th grade, Battle Prayer by Francis H. Tabor. O God, at whom supreme behest the clang of war may sound or cease, may we but fight the gentle peace on Cuba's isles once more may rest. If thought of dark revenge allure, or pride of place or idle boast, in freedom's name purge, thou our hosts, make their motives just and pure. Keep thou our banner free from stain, its stripes like rays of morning light, its stars as clear and crystal bright as those which deck thy winter train. And in the din of war's alarm, when love's soft voice is hard to hear, let tender mercy hover near, to drop her twofold healing balm.
So shall our country ever be, the same as when in battle bold she fought as giants fought of old, but fought for peace and liberty. Peace at Last by Mary B. Wingate. Now the war drums throb no longer, and the battle flags are furled. We exclaim in tones of rapture, we are at peace with all the world. Peace at last in all our borders, peace in all our wide domain. On the land and on the waters, peace at last with haughty Spain. God of nations, we would praise thee. In freedom's battle fought and won, broken every chain and fetter, free the Father and the Son. May the isles so fair and fruitful, where the stars and stripes shall wave, be transformed, redeemed, uplifted, never calling man a slave. Bless peace, we hail its coming, bringing blessing in its train. Blessings for the isles of the oceans, blessings we trust for Spain. May the gospel's light and glory bid its sin and strife to cease. To the land of ancient story, welcome in the Prince of Peace. Psalm 27, verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is my strength of life, of whom shall I be afraid? Thank you.